Welcome to the audio version of Tales of the Axe by Ross P. Suni. Sleep tight, my angel. I wish you knew me. It would only be fair, because I know so much about you. But if you knew I were here in your room, I would hate to do what had to be done. Destroying your life would not be easy for me, but you would give me no choice. You can never know that I am here. If you did sense my presence, I feel that all I have worked for would become meaningless. The time and effort just to get where I am today, into your house and into your bedroom. I would not want to ruin that. But if you ever looked up to find me, if you ever opened an eye to see me, I would have no choice but to end your existence. Sleep, my angel. I love the way you look, tucked safely in your nest of blankets. Some might think that you, a grown adult, are far too old to be sleeping with a stuffed animal. I don't. I think he's there to protect you. It's nice to feel safe, and maybe one day he will save you. But until then, I will be here to watch over you. 5 months ago, you came into my life. I saw you at the park playing with your daughter, Stephanie. You looked so innocent as you played on the swings with her. I remember you were wearing your black shorts with the butterfly on the left side pocket. It's been a long time since you worn those. Last time was when you ran out to buy stain remover for the carpet. I can still see the coffee stain next to the recliner. I'll never say a word. Your secret is safe with me. Please don't wake up. You have no idea how many dollars your life is worth until you're at death's door. Keep still, my angel. Every day I watch you sleep, and every day I repeat my words. Don't wake up. I would hate it if you did. I would hate to use my axe on you too soon. You probably never noticed me following you home from the park that night. I sat outside on your porch and watched you through the windows. You made pasta for dinner. Then you read The Adventures of Sammy Sumner to Stephanie. And that night, after you went to bed, I broke into your house and helped myself to your key ring. It was never missing like you thought. I'm sorry I stole it, but it makes it easier for me to come and go as I please. Sleep, my angel. I am watching over you. I'm always watching you. I know that on Tuesdays you play tennis with your friend Beth. Thursdays you go grocery shopping to beat the weekend crowd. And every morning of the week, you're off to take Stephanie to school, and you're there again every afternoon to pick her up. Every afternoon except Fridays, you let your ex-husband play his daddy part. Maybe if I pulled the covers off just a bit, I could get a tease. I wouldn't do that. I would not hurt you. Sleep now, angel. I'm here for you. I'll protect you from all evil. It's Friday, and you and I are alone in this big house. Your daughter will be away for the next 3 days, but I'll be here. Unlike your husband who walked out, I would never do that to you. I can't see why he left. Maybe he doesn't see your beauty the way I do. I remember the day he came to visit, you argued about child support. His response came with his hand across your face. I wanted to kill him when I saw him slap you. I would have risked it all to save you. But I held back and waited for him to leave. I followed him home and took away something that he loved very much. Remember April? I'm sorry he lied to you. She was never just a friend. They had been dating before you signed for the divorce. I was so full of anger when she told me this that I tied her to a tree and left her. In the back of my mind, I can still hear her screaming in sorrow. You don't have to worry about her. The forest is too deep and secluded for anyone to find her. April is gone. She had no one to protect her, not the protection in which you have from me. You can sleep in peace, angel. I have the whole house under my protection, and by doing so, I needed to drill some holes into the attic floor. I hope you don't mind, but I needed to watch you more carefully. I have one hole looking down into the kitchen, one to the bedroom, 2 in the living room, and 1 for the jacuzzi in the bathroom. Just think of them as your own private security system. It's almost 4 in the morning. I have to go hide soon, my angel. I hope you will remember that I will always be here to keep an eye on you. Whether you go in the kitchen, the cellar, or the garage, I will always be here for you. Sleep tight, my angel. He needs body parts. If anyone had asked Sammy's parents about their son, they would say that Sammy was a very creative and intelligent 10-year-old boy who would do the normal boyhood things: play ball, ride his bicycle, or just hang around. Hanging around was one of those things that his parents did not approve of. Not that he hung out, but where. Sammy spent most of his summer days in the town cemetery. It looked quite old to him and seemed not very well taken care of. The grass was overgrown, the trees and bushes never seemed to be trimmed, but that's what Sammy liked about it. The cemetery looked spooky, and he felt it was the perfect place to write his scary ghost stories. Sammy would sit there for hours and write the most imaginary stories. Then around dusk he would walk back home, and in the morning he would tell these stories to his parents. At first, the stories made his parents concerned about his strange imagination. But after a while, his parents would just laugh off his weird stories and hope that it was just a phase. One day, Sammy came home and told his parents about a tall, thin man he had seen in the cemetery. The man arrived just after dusk and started to dig up coffins. He dragged out the corpses and then chopped off different body parts using a very large axe. His parents thought it was one of his crazy ghost stories, but Sammy tried to explain that he wasn't making this one up. It was the truth. His parents still did not believe him. Sammy went back to the gravesite where he had seen the tall man before. "Maybe if they had came back with me, I could have proved that I wasn't making it up," Sammy said out loud. Upon his arrival, all the graves that had been disturbed were now covered back up. "They won't believe me now if there's nothing for them to see." Sammy decided to wait until tomorrow to revisit the cemetery. When dusk came the following day, Sammy sneaked out of his house and returned to the cemetery. Again, he saw the tall man hacking off body parts, and he threw them into a large black bag. Sammy felt he needed to prove to his parents that this man was real and not his imagination. He decided to come back again, but this time with a camera. It might be the only way his parents would ever believe him. The next morning, the family sat at the breakfast table. This is usually when Sammy told his ghoulish stories, but he was not in the mood today. He sat there quietly and read the back of his cereal box. "Could I be excused?" Sammy asked. "Sammy, you hardly touched your breakfast," his mother answered. "I know, but there's this toy I want to buy today," Sammy lied. He never liked to lie to his parents, but he felt this time he had to. His father sighed and looked at him. "You never have money. What happened? Did you rob a bank?" "No, I've been saving." That wasn't a lie. Sammy had been saving for a remote control car for some time now, but he felt buying a camera was more important. "What's the point of saving your money if you're going to go out and spend it?" his dad asked. "But that's the reason I was saving my money, to buy this one toy," Sammy tried to explain. "Go ahead, Sammy," his mother said, and Sammy left the table and ran to the garage to get his bicycle. A disposable camera was all Sammy could afford. He raced home and brought the camera up to his room. He read all the directions, which were printed on the camera. Sammy took a sample shot of his room to get an idea on how to use it. Then he waited that night to sneak out of the house. When the dusk settled across the sky, Sammy sneaked out and ran to the cemetery, back to the tombstones where he had seen the tall man before. The man was not there. The dirt below the tombstones had not even been touched. Then Sammy heard a noise a few yards from him. It was the tall man. The man was there looking in other caskets. Sammy watched him as he shuffled through the different body parts. It almost seemed that the tall man couldn't find what he was looking for. Coffin after coffin he opened and threw the lid back down. This was Sammy's chance to get it on film. He sunk down between two headstones so that the man would not see him, took out his camera, and aimed it at the tall man. There was one thing that Sammy didn't realize would happen. The camera had flashed when he took the picture. Sammy ran home and never looked back. He did not know if the tall man saw him or not. When Sammy got home and told his parents the news about the cemetery, he found his parents yelling at him for sneaking out. "Sam, I've had enough of your stories," his father scolded. "I should have said this before, but no more. No more stories, no more going out at night, and you are not allowed to set foot into that cemetery. Never. You got me?" Sammy showed them the camera, but his mother grabbed it out of his hands and sent him to his room. In the bedroom, Sammy looked out the window and cried because his parents didn't believe him. He looked out to the darkened street in front of his house. The single streetlight shined onto the dark pavement, and he sat and watched as the moths circled around the glow of the light. Sammy's eyes caught something else. He looked down, and there, out from the shadows, was the tall man. He walked underneath the streetlight and then stopped. Sammy noticed the man was carrying a black bag and a very large axe. The tall man turned his head and looked up into Sammy's window, then waved. Sammy ran to his bedroom door, locked it, and hid beneath the covers. When Sammy awoke in the morning, he climbed out of his bed and unlocked his bedroom door. He slowly walked down to the kitchen to find his mother. She was not there. But Sammy found tracks of mud on the kitchen floor. He followed the tracks of mud down into the next room. There in the living room, sitting in the middle of the floor, Sammy saw his parents. They had been gagged and tied together. His mother looked up at Sammy with great pain in her eyes. A pool of blood surrounded them. Sammy noticed his mother was missing her left ring finger. His father was missing both of his eyes. "Do you believe me now?"